happy Friday. It's 2 p.m. Central Time here in Louisiana. So that means it's time for Facebook Friday. And what we're going to take a look at in today's Facebook Live is gift bags. Right now, the amazing, beautiful designer paper at Stampin' UP is on sale, and it's on sale through June 30th. So what I've tried to do all month is give you some ideas for that paper. So I have a whole bunch of ideas for you. So we're going to just jump right in. So let's set some of these aside, giving us some space. Now, if you're like any good crafter, you probably hoard handled bags, especially when they're plain and given to you. But I not only hoard these plain ones, if they have a small company logo on them or something like that, I keep them too. I have a little hook that I hang them on, and I have handled bags everywhere. So to quickly alter a handled bag and customize it for the recipient, for the event and things like that, one of the first things that I like to do is I like to cut a piece of cardstock slightly smaller than the bag itself. I like to incorporate the color of the bag as a layer, if that makes sense, a little bit of contrast. So in this case, I have a white bag. It's a tiny little one. You've probably already seen it in other videos. It's another reason why I hoard them, so I always have something to create samples with. So I have petal pink on this small little white bag. And then the next thing that I have is a piece of designer paper. And regardless of what size bag, again, the piece of cardstock on the front is going to be totally determined by the size bag that you're working with. There's itty bitty bags, there's bags this size, lunch bag size, really big bags, okay? And more businesses are going to those kind of nice handled bags. And I always think it's fun when you get a bag with a handle on it as opposed to those cheap plastic bags that aren't good for our environment. So the cardstock on the front, totally determined by the bag size, as well as this piece of paper here. I always cut mine just about 1/4 of an inch wider than the bag itself. And then the depth, again, is going to be totally up to you. How much cardstock do you want showing? So there's no rules. It's just to give you this quick and easy idea. So then what you're going to do is I turned it inside out, and I made 2 little marks where the handles are, and I want to make a slit. And you can either make a slit using your trimming machine, put this down on your trimmer and just run your trimming blade between the lines, or Stampin' UP recently introduced 3 new tips for your U-Pick tool, and you're going to be seeing me spotlight these in the coming days because I have a really cool bundle offer on the U-Pick tool as part of my birthday celebrations in July. But one of the new blades is this X-Acto knife tip, which is amazing. And no, this is not a rubber cutting mat, but it's what I had handy, but you will want a rubber cutting mat, okay, to cut on. And you're just going to run this right along that line, creating a slit. That's all that you're going to do. And let's recap this because it is sharp. And then you're just going to feed the handles of your bag right on through. And just like that, you've already quickly and easily altered that bag. Of course, you can create fun borders. You could stamp an image. You're going to want to hang a tag and things like that with your bag. So this is the quickest and simplest way to use your cardstock and your designer paper to alter a bag. So then another fun way to create bags, and let me bring these 3 in for you, is to create a bag that uses no scoring whatsoever, no measuring, none of that kind of stuff. And all 3 of these were created the same way. This is 12 by 12 inch. I cut the 12 by 12 inch paper down to 8 by 8 and then 6 by 6. What that means is that at least with the 6 by 6, you could get 4 bags from a 12 by 12 piece of paper. But all 4 of them were folded the exact same way. So let's take a little bit of a look at how you do that. So let's grab a piece of 12 by 12 paper here. And I have some of our fun, delightfully eclectic paper. I love this. I always want to play I Spy with words with it, and it reminds me of Scrabble as well. So what you're going to do, and if you are somebody who needs a little bit of guidance, like maybe you don't feel comfortable guesstimating 2 inches or 3 inches, just simply grab a ruler or something else that I find extremely helpful when crafting anything is to use Stampin' Up's grid paper. On one side, you're going to have the metric measurements, and on the other side, you're going to have the imperial measurements, also known as inches and feet, right? So you're gonna have those dimensions. Let's straighten this up a little bit so it's not so cattywampus for you. There you go, that looks a little bit nicer. Now hold it like your head like this. So you can either lay a ruler down, or you can just turn your paper and kind of look at the numbers at the top, and you have little lines. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this about 1.5 inches. You can fold it 2 inches, like you did here. You can fold it just 1 inch. You can fold it 1/2 inch. You can fold it 3 inches. There's no right or wrong way, okay? But in this case, if you want to duplicate it exactly, it's about 2 inches. Your most important tool on this project, as well as the next bags that I show you, is going to be your bone folder, because you want that really, really nice crease. So this is what's going to be the border. So my bag would look like this is the front, and I folded the inside to the front because this will give me that sweet little border. I'm going to turn it over, and again, so this is a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So about to the middle, I'm gonna fold it just past that middle. So I'm gonna bring this over just past the middle, hold this down, hold this in place, and give myself a nice score. So just past the middle. And then the other adhesive that you're going to use often, at least that I like to use and I recommend when doing bags, is the tear and tape. And it's always a nice width for the borders. So in this case, I'm gonna run a piece the entire length like this. I'm not gonna peel it up just yet, but what I wanna do is I wanna fold this just past the one that I have here. Just enough so that that tear and tape is covered. And again, we're gonna give it a nice score. Give it that good score. And now we'll pull this big backing up. Yeah, I have the U-pick tool right here in front of me. What do I use? My nails, right? So we're gonna just push that down just like that. And literally what you have is just kind of like a, can you see all the way down through? Hello. So you've kind of got like a little bit of a tube. Then you're going to take the bottom and you're going to fold it up anywhere between 2 and 3 inches, at least on this larger size. I'm going to give you permission in a minute to vary your sizes. So here's 3 inches. I'll put my first finger there and then just kind of make sure it's straight. And the way that you know it's folded straight is that your edges line up here. It's not, so you can see this bottom edge isn't peeking out. Let me offset it. If I folded it and something like that was sticking out the edge, it wouldn't be folded straight. It's lined up nice, so it is folded straight. Okay, so about 3 inches. So this was 2 inches. You fold it in from the side, just past the middle mark. Put your tear and tape on, folded just over the top. Okay, so now you're going to open it up, and if you squeeze it in just a little bit, think like a duck bill or something like that. You want to go ahead and bring this in, and you're going to bring this in as well. So you're just going to take that, squeeze it, you know, so squeeze it down and give yourself those good scores. Nice flat marks, makes everything work nicer. You're going to take this piece up just past the middle. And I don't add my adhesive till after I've folded it all, and this one's going to come over top of that one. So top down, and now I'm going to come back in and add my adhesive. And I grab, so let's add a little bit of tear and tape as well here too. Just want to make sure it holds good. And hang on a second, as long as I've got this tape up, let's put these up here so that they don't go anywhere. So I've got this flap here. Can you see the lines, the folds kind of sticking out just a little bit? So now let's give these all a good crease one more time. Now I'm going to take, and if you'll look, there's an angle right here. I'm going to bring this over so that that lines up. Before I crease it down, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Okay? So you've got this piece coming over just like this. And you're going to want to work with designer paper, not cardstock, because while the first layer feels thin, as you start to work with it, you're going to definitely notice that thickness. And working with cardstock may end up being too thick and too chunky for you. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to bring this in so that this little line lines up, that little angle. I'm just making it as straight as possible. A little tip for you, anything like this here has lines on it. It makes it really easy to make straight lines when you're working with plaids and stripes and things like that. But a really busy print is extremely forgiving. So I'm just going to bring these to the front and give them another score just to make those score lines that much nicer. We're going to bring it to the front. Just really work those scores. And now we're going to open it up. So now, see that piece that we've been working with? See how it just kind of works side to side? We're going to open this up, put your arm down inside, push it, and then these little pieces that you just creased, you're going to push to the inside. And then just like that, you have a gift bag without any measuring or anything like that. And every now and then, it's really nice not to have to be extremely precise and not to have to, agonize over measurements and get all the fancy tools and everything out. So I really like this bag. Now, again, I give you permission to play around with it. Once you have the practice of using, the 2 inches, approximate 2 inches, approximate 3 inches, then just start playing. And that's what I did here. This was the only one I'd ever seen made. And so I asked myself, what would happen if I did 8 by 8 and I did it just a little bit smaller? So in this case, we did 8 by 8 paper. I made the flap about 1 inch instead of 2 inches and just kind of then went from there kind of the same direction, and it worked great. This one's closed just with a circle, kind of creating a little flap. And then this one is a 6 by 6 piece of paper. This is a 1/2 inch little flap, but of course you can make them wider if you wanted them short. And then you can put all kinds of fun things in them. Like in this case, I have a little, a little liquid treat. This one's nice and tall. And what's fun about one that's this tall is that it does make a nice wine bag. And so you have a nice bag that hides the label, and you can put a pretty little bow or something like that. So it is Friday, it is the weekend. We've got a lot of liquid refreshments on the mind here. Of course, you can put lots of fun stuff. You could put a lot of different candies down inside of there. You could fold a lot of fun socks down inside of that, a mittens. You could put a pretty scarf. So lots of fun things can be put down in that size. So again, this is 12 by 12. And in this one, we just folded shut, 2 holes punched, just simple little ribbon. And I will be embellishing them with tags to finish them off. But how fun is the Les Shops paper for a gift bag? We used the rounded tag, and this one we just kept open, and we'll put a little tag on the front. So real simple, no measuring, guys. Take the stress out of your day, right? So then let's look at another option for you. So that's this one. And this one is actually 2 12 by 12 pieces of paper. I don't have it adhered together. You'll see us put it all together in just a second. But what you do is you create 2 pieces that form together. Okay, so this is the way the box goes. It's real sturdy. It's going to give you a nice flat bottom. And then what you're going to do is, if you want to reinforce the bottom, let's just put this back together for just a second. We'll be adhering and making some in just a second. But you're just going to measure the bottom, the finished bottom, and cut this like 1/8 of an inch smaller. And then just drop it inside. It doesn't even need to be adhered. Just drop it inside it, and it will reinforce your bottom for you. So let's take a look at making this bag together. using 12 by 12 paper, and then I want to show you some variations on it. Again, how you can just take a basic idea and then do that much more with it. So I love, love, love Stampin' Up's trimmer tool. You can make creases using a score pal with using a bone folder and a ruler. I love that this tool is kind of everything all in one. I can work with paper up to 14 by 14 inches. I can turn a 12 by 12 on an angle. It has a long arm that I can extend out if I want to keep moving paper along for scoring. I can score off to the side. I love that for paper that is going to be 6 by 6. The 6-inch mark is not in what's called the dead space, that kind of like, ooh, where's that little 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch mark, right? Because most of us cut 6 inches or score at 6 inches a lot. On a lot of other trimmers, that 6-inch mark is kind of what's in the crease, and that's kind of like, ugh, I don't really care for that. So I love that the 6 inches is on this side of that. And it has your cutting tool, and it has your scoring tool all in one, and it has some nice feet on the bottom that's going to help grip the trimmer when it's on your workspace. So this is my go-to. I really kind of downsized and minimized in my studio, and if I can find a tool that does 2 or 3 things in one, and I don't need another tool, such as I donated my score pal, that is now gone. I don't use that anymore because I have this amazing tool. It's one less thing to have to store in my studio, have to go looking for in my studio. So we're going to use a little bit more of that delightfully eclectic paper. And it's got a fun black and white print on one side and these beautiful flowers on this side. So you need to, you're going to have a top, and that top piece is going to be 2 inches. So I'm going to give you the standard way and the way that you may see it in videos and tutorials out there. So we're going to make a 2-inch top, okay? And you need to pay attention to the directionality. I have another bag that I'll show you here in a few minutes that used the geese, and yeah, I had them standing on their head. So you got to really pay attention to your directionality for that flap. That's the only thing that matters. That 2-inch side, kind of think about how it would look folded in if that's the piece that's going to be your flap. And the same thing if this print here, like I had to make sure my letters were going up and down. So those are the only little extra tips, is just be aware of directionality. So you've got a 2-inch piece. You've got 3 more sides. We're going to score 3 inches, 3 inches, and 3 inches. Very, very simple. So we'll put this at the 3-inch mark, and we're going to give it a good score. I'm going to turn it. Do 3 inches, give it a good score. We're going to turn it and give it a good score. So we've scored 3 sides at, don't trimmer Janet, 3 sides at 3 inches and 1 side at 2 inches. I'm going to repeat that because I need 2 pieces. So let me just make sure, okay, that they're going the same direction. And we're going to score, just for reinforcement, 2 inches, and then the other 3 sides at 3 inches. And that's just for the very basic bag, just to give you a place and a point of reference to start from, and to build a little confidence in creating this bag. So this would be the one that I would start with first. And you are going to use a whole sheet of that 12 by 12 paper that's in your stash, helping you use it up so that you don't feel guilty buying more paper, right? So let's set that one aside for just a second. So what you're going to do with your bone folder is you just, again, want to go over all of your score marks that you have. So it's got everything scored, and we'll do that one more time. You're going to do the exact same thing to both sheets. So that's the other thing that's easy about this bag. It's one of those ones where it's going to be really easy to commit the measurements to memory. You won't have to pull out a cheat sheet or a note or something like that. So I've got my 2-inch piece up top, okay? 3-inch border on each side, 3-inch across the bottom. On the bottom, your score lines overlap. You have a little square right here. Where those score lines overlap, you're just gonna snip up that score line. You're not taking anything out. You don't need to angle it, notch it, anything like this. This works perfectly fine. So you're just gonna have notches. And then you're going to do the same thing over here with the second piece. And now you're ready to put it together. That's it, okay? 2 inches, 3-inch border the whole way around, 2 little snips on what's considered the bottom, okay? And I bet I did that wrong, didn't I? You guys are all watching me going, oh, Janet. Okay, we're gonna fake it. And you'll still get the idea because I have a box. I am so sorry. It is really hard to cut, measure, and talk at the same time. I think from now on, I'm gonna go radio silent while I'm doing those pieces. So this is the piece that I want as my flap. This is the inside of my bag. These will go like this, and this will come up. I like to work with tear and tape. And if you've made it this far in the video, if you've never tried Stampin' Up's tear and tape, or you don't own a bone folder, make sure you're commenting on this video, because you'll have a chance to win one or the other. Simply comment with which one would you prefer to win? How about that one? That way you get what you want. Comment if you like, oh, I'd love to have a tear and tape, or I'd love to have a new bone folder. And 2 lucky people will get their wishes met. But tear and tape is really, really strong. You're not going to have any other liquid glue squishing out onto your workspace, out onto places on the bag that you don't want it to be. And if you're putting something extra heavy in it, then maybe a couple extra strips of tear and tape across that will work. It just depends on the weight of what you're putting in it. Some light pairs of socks, or a cute little pajama set or something, then I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. But let's just peel these off. And I'm going to peel this side off too. And now I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to bring this flap up, and I want to make sure that my edges all line up over here on this side. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to bring this in, and that would be half of your box. You're going to do the same thing with your second half, and let's bring this one back in here then so that you can see. So you've got your 2 halves, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put adhesive. Let's go ahead and do that here real quick. So you're going to have adhesive at the edges. And on this edge, you want it all the way at the edge. And you only need to do it on one of the halves. You don't need to do it on both the halves. But you want it right up to that edge. That's what's really going to help hold it together and give it a nice finished look. So adhesive again, if it's something super heavy, or maybe you're packing it in a bag, maybe you're flying with it, maybe you need it to hold up on a long road trip or something like that, then maybe a little extra would work. You just have to know how much abuse that gift bag is going to take getting from your place to the gift recipient, okay? So that's up to you. Sometimes you'll find that what you put inside of it will add the extra support that you need inside of it. So let's just add this little extra piece here. And we're gonna go ahead and pull that backing off. You could also use something like Seal Plus, which is a really strong. And if you are very comfortable with your liquid glue and you don't make a mess like I do, then most definitely go ahead and use your liquid glue. It's definitely one of those very personal things. I'm going to set this down inside, and then I'm going to slide it down. And you're going to see in a second here where your bone folder has another great use, is if you take it and just rub your seams, you're going to help embed that paper into that adhesive just a little bit. And then the last thing, you're gonna have just this little corner flap on each side. And you're gonna take your, let's take this boo-booed one away. And let's just pick up our glue dot. I'm gonna put one part way up. And glue dots are amazing. Oh my gosh, I love glue dots. So many things you can do with them. And we're gonna put one here. And then one here. So a 2-inch border, and then it's 3 inches wide on the sides and the bottom. So there's your basic nice square box. The only thing you need to decide now is how you're going to close it. Are you going to seal it up like that? Are you going to leave it like this? Are you going to put handle ties on it? What are you going to do with it? But let's take a look at something fun. So this one was 2-inch border and then 3-inch scores on all sides with the 12 by 12 piece of paper. But look what happens to your box. This is also a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper. And once I had these measurements, I started asking myself, what would happen if I had a narrower border up top, and what would happen if I had narrower sides? So in this case, these sides are 2 inches wide. And just the act of making your sides 2 inches the whole way around, look how much wider it is. Now you don't have as much width on the inside, but this one would be great for books. I could think of some other fun flat things to put inside of that one. So same 12 by 12 paper, all we did was alter how wide the border is and how wide these are. The one thing to remember when you're doing this, one measurement for the top, and then the other 3 sides are all the same measurement, whether it's 3 inches, whether it's 2 inches. Here is another one, okay? So now this one, we'll measure it. Okay, this one is 2.5 inches, so it's in between these 2 sizes. And this top part came down 1.5, so 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches. And look, so all 3, so it just depends on how wide you're gonna make the border and how wide you're gonna make the sides. Now this one I couldn't resist giving it a really fun closure. This little piece right here slides out from underneath the buckle that I created using 2 of my must-have seasonal favorites. I think that every crafter needs to own these in their die stash. This is the Country Side Dies, Country Corner Dies, and this is the Nested Essentials. And then I just use brads to hold it on, and then you're gonna put some tear and tape between here to keep that closed. So again, all of these are 12 by 12 paper. So now what happens if you want you want smaller boxes? I haven't put them all together so I can hear them later, because you want to give more than one gift. Maybe you're having an event where you need party favors or something like that. So in this case, this one is a 6 by 6 piece of paper, and we did the sides 1 inch the whole way around and 1/2 inch. 1 inch the whole way around, and I was able to get 2 boxes from that 12 by 12 piece of paper. Cut it down, because you need 4 pieces. That's why you're only getting 2. I know you're going, wait a minute, there's 4 6 by 6 pieces. I did the same thing, I promise you. I'm like, oh my gosh, Janet, it only makes 2 even though there's 4 pieces, because you need 4 pieces of paper. So that's 6 by 6. Well then, what about 4 by 4 paper? In this case, you're gonna get 4 boxes out of it, and you'll have 1 6 by 6 piece left over. Because when you cut a 12 by 12 piece of paper into 4 by 4 inch squares, you actually have 9 of them. So you'll have a little extra one that you can do something fun with. Both of these were created with 4 by 4 paper, guys. And isn't that amazing how totally different they are? What's the difference? It's the width right here that you do on 3 sides. So in this case, this width is barely 1/2 inch all the way around. And in this case, it's a full inch all the way around. You're going to be able to put little Tic Tacs, little mints. You're going to be able to put different kinds of tea bags and things. This one works great for your larger tea bags. So you're going to be able to put tea bags in that one, a gift card, a pair of earrings, a little necklace. So you're going to be able to have some fun in this size. You're going to be able to get 4 of them out, again, for those party favors. But How about really cute ones? We all love little things, right? So how about a really, really tiny little 3x3? And in this case, then you are going to get a whole bunch of them out of a 12x12 paper when you go all the way down to 3x3 inches. And it's just scored 1/2 inch literally on all 4 sides, just married it up. And what's nice about this little size is perfect for our beloved Ghirardelli squares. Definitely something that we love. It's a little too small for some of your larger tea bags, but there may be smaller tea bags on the market for it. You can also put a small little cookie. You could put some loose candy in it, easily like that. So just playing around, guys, and it all just started with a box this size and asking myself, I wonder what would happen if I didn't make it as wide, if I didn't fold this down as far. So I give you guys permission to think outside the box and to ask yourself those questions as well too. But you're really gonna find that you're able to do some really fun things when you start asking yourself, I wonder what it would look like if I folded it just a little bit differently. So you're gonna have those fun different sizes all to play with and things like that. So I'm gonna finish playing in the studio tonight and gussying them up even more. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you check back to see how they look with all of the different handles, the different options that I'm gonna showcase for you of different ways to add ribbon. I've got a couple more ideas up my sleeve for other ways that you could have to possibly close them off. And then of course, some of them you don't necessarily want to close off, like if you're putting a bottle of wine, instead you'll just put the tag around the neck and let it hang down onto the bag. But you'll see all of those variations later on this evening as I finish playing. So any comments, questions about the measurements again, ask them below. I am not necessarily going to write them up for you because again, the basic, it all just depends on, you know, what you're working with and what you're doing. But if you still want to know on a specific project, hey Janet, that pink bag, what were those measurements again? Hey Janet, the little 3x3, which is 1/2 inch the whole way around, ask them and I'll give them to you. But again, I find it when you have all that list of possible variations may be a little confusing. All you really need to know is that 3 sides need to be the same, and then the top can be the same as the 3 sides, or the top can be a different size. Having the 3 sides the same gives you the nicest closure on the bag. And then of course the first 3 bags that we did, there's no measurements. We just started by a 12x12 and 8x8, 6x6, and of course you could work your way on down 4x4, even do 10x10. You could have some different funds for them. Chipboard, Linda, that's a great idea as well. Those of you that the designer paper, the cardboard that comes inside of designer paper that you're always holding on to going, I need an idea for that. Actually, Linda, that's a perfect upcycle recycling of that cardboard and that chipboard that comes inside. And even round boxes and things like that, your Stampin' Up boxes, cutting a square out of that would work as well. If I don't happen to have anything like that on hand, right, who am I fooling? But another option if you don't have the backing from the 12x12 paper chipboard or something like that. The thick cardstock in the vanilla or white that Stampin' Up has is a nice weight to put down in the bottom of that. But thanks, Linda, for that reminder. That's actually a great tip. So also don't forget, tear and tape or a bone folder. Which one would you love to be the prize winner of? And I will announce that winner on Sunday, guys. So I'm off to create and fancy and gussy up these bags. Have some fun, guys.